So patch 11.1 is almost here, and today I'm doing a quick video going over everything related to professions coming in the new patch. So the main things we're going to talk about in this video: new recipes, profession respec, and changes to crafting stats. I'm going to talk about the new inscription recipes and the profession respec in a video of their own. So I'm not going to go into them into massive detail in this video, but we will do just sort of a quick general outline. So new professions is not going to be the only way to make gold in this patch. In fact, it may not even be the best way to make gold in this patch. I do have some other videos coming as well for other stuff that I think will be potentially be good ways to make gold as well. So all those videos will be coming for patch 11.1 sort of as we get closer to the time, sort of thing. So first up, a quick talk about crafting stat changes coming. So the multi-craft and the resourcefulness stat changes come in 11.1. Now, everyone assumed because these changes were announced for 11.0.7, but they did not go into the patch. They assumed they were getting put back to 11.1, and a Wowhead post sort of stirred this pot a little bit without really explaining things very well. So I've checked several times on the PTR. Checked on the first week, I've checked a couple of times since, and I've checked at this point less than a week before patch 11.1 releases, and at this time, there is no changes to any crafting stats. So there's no multi-craft nerf and there's no resourcefulness buff whatsoever. So I'm going to repeat that. There are no changes to crafting stats in 11.1. And I just wanted to stress that point because I'm getting asked this question so many times and people are just really confused by Wowhead sort of reposting that blue post from sort of like months ago at this point, and even said in that post that it was something that was in discussion. It wasn't something that was set in concrete. So most importantly then, no changes to crafting stats in this patch that we have coming. So recipes then, we do have some new recipes coming in this patch. There is not a huge amount of them, but we do have something. So for Leatherworkers, we get a new armor kit. Charged armor kit gives primary stats and stamina. It may potentially give Leatherworkers somewhere to dump their concentration for a little while, but I don't see this recipe lasting very long. It's just simply too cheap to produce from concentration, basically. It's fine. It's a leatherworking armor kit. You know, it is what it is, but Leatherworkers are probably still going to make the vast majority of their gold from sort of leatherworking regions in 11.1. Now, this recipe and most of the other recipes on this list are going to come from the new renown. So that's the Cartels of Undermine, and you need 5 renown to be able to purchase this recipe. And in addition to that, you need 150 artisan security, like you do with many of the other recipes sort of in this expansion. Now, how long it will take to get 5 renown, that is sort of debatable. So on the PTR, we was able to do it on day 1, but that's because we had all the story unlocked, and the story gives quite a lot of renown. So we don't know how long it really will take on live to get to renown 5. But I can't imagine it's going to be sort of like a ridiculous amount of time. So hopefully you should be able to get these recipes unlocked quite quickly. So engineering has a new recipe, and it's in the form of a 22H slicks. Like with the previous recipe, like we said, comes from renown 5 and 150 artisan security. Now, this part is for upgrading the new car that we get for the zone in Undermine. So I imagine anyone that actually knows about this thing will probably want it, but the issue might be just people just not knowing about it more than anything else. This could do okay for engineering, but the main issue is there's no quality on this. So it's going to have sort of very limited earning potential, and it's not going to help your concentration at all. That being said, this can be sold on the auction house. So I imagine the first person to unlock this should be able to make like a little bit of gold from it at least. It's fine. It's something new at least, but it's not out of this world or anything like that. Now, we previously had a cooking recipe for authentic Undermine clam chowder. I could not find this anywhere on the PTR, so I don't know if it ended up in the game or not. Cooking may or may not have a new recipe, but I cannot confirm it either way at the moment. Like I said, I couldn't look it anywhere, and I did do quite a lot of the PTR, and I didn't pick it up anywhere. So a similar story when it comes to Enchanted Crest as well. So the recipes had been data mined, but besides, like, I've done the entire new zone on my Enchanted character, and I was not be able to pick these up anywhere. Now, it is possible that these are a raid drop. It's also possible that I think probably the most likely explanation here is that Blizzard has actually just completely changed the system to basically bypass professions completely. So we did have a vendor on the PTR, and this is a vendor where you was able to sort of buy the enchanted crests. Now, this isn't unusual. You sort of get this stuff for testing purposes all the time, but this time the requirements for buying these weren't like testing requirements. Usually, if you're buying something for testing purposes, it'll be like 1 copper or something like that, so you can just buy as much as you want and test. These actually cost the crests, and they cost what seemed like a reasonable amount. So it seems quite likely that Enchanting will not be doing the enchanted crest this time. It looks like people are just going to be buying these directly from a vendor. And I actually, even though obviously I'm always on the side of professions, I actually sort of get this, because the enchanted crests weren't really like something that necessarily needed to go through professions. It was just sort of like extra steps to make sure professions were involved, and it was just sort of like a bit of a pain in the ass for normal players just to get those enchanted crests. So like I sort of understand this change if this is what's happening. So the vendor, yeah, you can see it here in Donegal, and you can just use your crests, buy enchanted crests directly, assuming that it's going to go live like this, which it looks like really promising at the moment. So most importantly for the enchanting, then it means we have no new enchants. So that means whatever you are using your concentration enchanters on now, you can continue to do. Now sometimes you can see sort of slight changes in the market with something like this, even though there's no new recipes. So some of the older recipes may become less in demand. So anything that's like a damage proc or anything like that may become sort of less in demand, simply because a proc for damage can start really strong, but then that's the scaling of that gets worse as people get sort of more stats, and then sort of stats become sort of like better to have than sort of a damage proc or something like that. So you may potentially see like small shifts in the market like that, but mostly it's going to be business as usual for enchanting concentration characters. The most interesting thing going into this sort of patch is going to be like a lot of people have quite a lot of stockpiled enchanting concentration stuff that they've crafted, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the prices, because we have a lot of stockpile there, but this isn't like a stockpile where people can just farm more as such. There is, even with the huge stockpiles going on, there is sort of limited supply here. So it'll be interesting to see if the supply of everyone getting loads of new gear sort of burns through those stockpiles quite quickly, and we might actually see prices go up potentially, but we don't know for sure. We just have to see what happens, because we've never gone into a season before having concentration when people have stockpiled stuff. The profession probably getting the most love, and we're going to use that term very loosely, is Inscription, and we are getting a new Vantage Rune and a new contract for the new reputation. I have a separate video for this coming. So like I said, I'm not going to go into this for too much detail, because like I said, I think this is probably the most, this is the profession that has the most sort of potential, at least from a concentration perspective anyway, going into this patch. Doesn't mean it's going to be better than Enchanting, because I don't think it will be, but it's still going to be sort of one that does have some potential here. Now, like with the previous recipes, it's Renown 5, and it's 150 artisans and QT for each of these recipes. Overall, Inscription concentration characters should do okay in patch 11.1 if we can get them the recipes and stuff like that. And that's what I'll talk about in that video, how to get the guys the recipes and stuff like that. We also have some sort of profession catch-up coming in 11.1, sort of. So as a Renown reward, we get 10 profession knowledge books for every profession on the new Renown track for the sort of like the new reputation. The really silly thing here is it's locked behind Renown 16, which just seems absolutely bizarre to me. If it were like on the low end of the track, then maybe somebody could, get some use out of these. But it just seems absolutely pointless that they're coming so late in the patch. It doesn't seem like anyone is going to get any use of this whatsoever. But maybe someone somewhere will make some use of it. At least it covers sort of every single profession anyway. We have Profession Respec coming in 11.1. I have played around with it quite a bit on the PTR, and I'm sure some people are going to be happy with this, and of course some people won't be happy, because some people are never happy with sort of how far the system goes. At least we finally have the option of being able to respec our knowledge on our professions. So if you did utterly screw up your profession spec, at least you have a chance of being able to sort the issue out now. So like I said, I will sort of make a mini profession respec video of its own, so we don't really need to go into it for too much detail here. But basically, yes, we have a profession respec system coming in 11.1. And that's pretty much it. That's everything coming in patch 11.1. So we have no crafting changes, we have professional respec, and we have a couple of recipes that we expected anyway, because you expect the Vantus rune, you expect the contract, and then like an armor kit and a part to the new car, and that is, that is pretty much it. So it's not a huge amount, but at least we have other gold making opportunities outside of professions. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is actually enough profession content to be getting in sort of like a major season patch? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, guys, if you're not on the Discord, the gold making Discord, where we sort of discuss a lot of the gold making stuff, there's a link to that sort of in the description below as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.